Well, welcome everybody to our GLREA Thursday solar story, and thanks for coming. And as you, if you've been here before, you know the first thing I need to do is to thank our sponsors, the State Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, Eagle, Homeland Solar, and Dave is here tonight, has joined us. Harvest Solar, Sri Energy, and Sumter Solar. And tonight we're going to have a real interesting presentation about Ryter Cooperative Industries by Karanja Famodou, who's their Chief Operating Officer. He's going to kind of tell us what Ryder's been up to and some interesting stuff I think you'll find. And, please mute yourself while the presentation's going on. And so go ahead, Karanja.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Pleasure to be here and see you all. So, as was indicated, we want to share with you some of the recent developments that have occurred within Ryter Cooperative Industries since we last presented. So, without further ado, I'll get started here. Um, Karanja Famodou, as mentioned, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Ryter. And I work with Ali Darul. He's the founder and Chief Executive Officer. Who is Ryter? Ryter is a leader in the urban renewable energy space, and we were established in 2015, headquartered in Detroit with offices in New Lab. Our focus remains solar and clean energy solutions, but since we last spoke, we've made some major pivots in the sector we focus on. And I'll tell you more about that as we proceed. Our mission is to basically through education expose communities to clean tech solutions and options as we carry out this mission. So we want to accelerate the adoption of solar powered energy systems by providing robust, scalable solar solutions for clients worldwide. I want to shout out to Kresge Foundation. As mentioned, we've made some major pivots, and talk with you more about that. But Kresge has been instrumental in the supporting our efforts. So we're moving into a portfolio development and ownership, and again, they're one of the solid supporters of our efforts in this area. Our focus is providing platforms to educate the community to help us to achieve the goals that we all want. In addition to providing concentrated solar and clean energy work, we do have our Lumens Foundation, which is a critical element of our community efforts. So we provide platform. Our Lumens Foundation provides a platform to educate the community about solar and renewable energy, as well as introduce residents to the benefits and components of solar technology. And by the way, if they're unsure, typically do you hold questions until the end of the session, or if folks want to ask questions, that's an option at any time.
Yeah,
Not
it's
sure how
kind of
you.
up to you.
Okay.
I guess I would encourage people, if you have something that's an immediate question, just kind of raise your virtual hand. If not, why don't you wait till the Q&A period after the presentation?
All right. Okay. So as I mentioned, we have made a hard pivot, and our hard pivot now is basically out of residential into commercial and industrial projects. So our service offerings now include energy services agreements in the developing platforms, and within that, the energy services agreements that support that, EPC work and development work in the arena. And we are currently putting together platforms that include a couple of the photos that you see here. I'll go a little bit further into depth on that in a short bit. But Walker Miller and Live 6 are two of the members of the portfolio that we're putting together at this point. So looking at our commercial services, we're still involved in solar and storage, and that was previously what we were doing in the residential space as well. But now we've basically primarily focused on solar and storage in the commercial arena. And also we provide commercial solar assessments and commercial solar lighting. Those are just a couple of the service offerings that we have in the commercial arena. We also focus on resilience hubs. And I believe the last time that we spoke with you, we might have been, in fact, I think on the beginning, we might have been involved in a feasibility study for one of the resiliency hubs that that became a project of ours, which I'll give you a little more detail on shortly. But we within the resilience hub offering, we provide community impact assessments, feasibility studies, and microgrid and design development services. This has been a very interesting area for us, and I believe there's a potential for a lot of growth. There has been quite a bit of volume of conversation over the last few years regarding resiliency hubs. We installed the first resiliency hub in the state of Michigan here for the city of Detroit, but there have been conversations regarding establishing resiliency hubs throughout Wayne County and throughout other areas of the state of Michigan. So we should see more activity in that arena, and we look forward to being participants in that area. From a project's perspective, let's take a look at some of the projects that we've been focused on and some of the new projects that we'll be looking at. So as I mentioned with the pivot, we are developing portfolios now, and a portfolio that we're involved in, our initial portfolio that we're putting together. Some of the elements or some of the members of that portfolio include Walker Miller Energy Services, which many of you may be familiar with. It's one of the larger energy service organizations within the state, and I think regionally as well. Then there's Live 6, which is a smaller organization. They are a community-based organization that is located in the city of Detroit in the northwest sector in the Illinois and 6 Mile area. So developing the portfolios, as John and I had a brief conversation before the start of the meeting, with the consistent upward pressure on pricing for energy, we believe that the portfolio solution and energy services agreements will allow for us to deliver cost-saving solutions to organizations that will allow them to avoid the kind of continued increases that we know are going to occur, that are occurring more rapidly now, and of course we know are going to continue for the next foreseeable future. So being able to provide these energy services agreements that provide a discount, and in many cases provide a significant discount to the organizations, is something we feel very good about being able to provide as a service to our clients and to the client body. So Live 6 is an organization, as I mentioned, that is located in Northwest Detroit, and it's a community-focused organization that provides services to members of the community. In that area, it's kind of an LMI area. So for them as a service provider, at least it helps them to reduce their cost for energy services. So we have one of our partners we're working with to take a look at that opportunity for the portfolio is Dave at Homeland, and Dave and his organization Homeland. So we're looking forward to working with them to learn more about what the possibilities are, what the options are. And again, we continue to be closely allied and working with community organizations. And as part of this portfolio that we're putting together now, PAL, is one of the community organizations that, in addition to Live Six, is one of the community organizations that is a part of the portfolio. PAL stands for Police Athletic League. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with it, but anyway, it is, at least in the Detroit area, it's housed in Detroit and provides young folks with opportunities to become involved in sports. And namely, at least that I'm aware of, at least I think they certainly do football, and I'm sure they do baseball, and I believe they may do basketball as well. I'm not quite sure, but they offer those kinds of opportunities to members of the community. So we're including them as part of the part of this portfolio. And as well, the same rationale, if you will, or the same kind of benefits will accrue to PAL as will accrue to Live Six, as I mentioned previously. All right, so the portfolio that we're developing, I'm sorry, let me go back just a brief second. The portfolio that we're developing, it has we have 6 properties as part of that portfolio. And then the Live Six part of the portfolio is a combined storefront sector of about five storefronts, 4 to 5 storefronts that are contiguous. So not only will the Live Six organization itself be able to realize savings from an energy services agreement that we'll be putting together for them, but as well the remainder of the residents, if you will, of that block. So we're excited about being able to provide the total of that block with those kinds of benefits and savings. All right. Moving now to a look at the kinds of projects that we've been involved in more recently, and as an update to the projects that we previously shared with you. These are more focused on in fact, they're all focused on the commercial and industrial side. So as I mentioned a bit earlier with the Lenox Center, that was the first resilience hub in the state of Michigan. So we were the lead installers on that one. And those are some of the sizing elements there that you see: 71 kilowatts of solar, battery storage of 220 kilowatt battery storage, and Avalon Village, which is a smaller installation, as well as Brilliant Detroit, but both of them were based basically on the microgrid architecture. The Lenox Center, the initial installation focused on the installation of solar plus storage, and as well, it was designed to include a generator, natural gas backup generator. At the time, the city of Detroit made the call to postpone the deployment of that generator. So at some point in the future, they will install that generator so that they will have a fully suited out microgrid that will be composed of solar storage and generation. With regards to the Avalon Village and the Brilliant Detroit, those are just both solar and storage. And as you can see, those are the sizing factors that are there. So those were decent little projects. We're looking to do more of those in the resiliency hub arena, as mentioned. But we were able to again successfully complete these, and they're up and running. We haven't had any issues with them. Looking at some of the further projects that we've been involved in. Again, taking a look at solar and storage at D-Town Farm. We had initially installed their system. This is an off-grid system, in fact. It's just a small system, a 4 kilowatt system that was installed on, on a 40-foot shipping container. But we did an update there. Pulled out the old battery. We had an iron Edison battery initially, so we pulled that out, and we had solar inverters in there. So we pulled those out, and we went with the EG4 batteries, as well as we went with solar edge inverters, and we have as you see the batteries two 280 amp hour batteries. From a municipality standpoint, we do work there with municipalities as well. The city of Detroit, as mentioned previously, we did the I didn't tie that, in fact, to the Lenox Center. The Lenox Center was in fact, or is in fact, a city of Detroit asset. But in addition to providing the kind of installation services that we delivered for the center, we're also acting as advisors in the clean energy space for the city of Detroit. And for Highland Park, which the HP stands for, this kind of highlights our work with municipal lighting. So we installed 10 municipal solar lights there most recently. It was the precursor, if you will, to, I believe, 50 additional solar lights that were installed there. We did not get that contract, but the 10 lights was a decent project for us. So we look forward to doing more of those. So we have that kind of capability. Other areas of focus in our projects, houses of worship. We have been involved with several projects in that arena, namely the Shrine of the Black Madonna, which is located in Detroit, and it is at this point in the development stage. So we are not the developers, but we are working as EPCs. Our role is EPCs in this project. So as the developer is working through elements of finance and other kinds of project considerations, we are waiting for that to happen. But the dimensions there are 120 kilowatts of DC. That will include, I think, they include 2 EV chargers that will be installed there. Another house of worship was the new Mount Hermon Church, which is located in Southwest Detroit, and it was 24 kilowatts of DC. And they have since, although we weren't a part of that particular part of the project, they have embarked on the installation of storage. They have also, we installed SolarEdge inverters for that project, but since they're going with storage, they have to install a new inverter. That's again someone else's project, but they're going with storage, and as well they're going with the generator, so they'll have the full microgrid set up with that configuration. And Lord of Lords, the previous project that we did there, again, it was lighting focused. So we installed solar lighting for that, excuse me, for that house of worship. So that's a look at some of the projects that we've been involved in most recently. And rounding out here, not quite the half hour, but we as well focus on workforce development. We know that workforce development is a key aspect. Workforce development and education outreach is a key aspect to being successful as an industry globally and as well as locally. So education is a key to the future success here. So we offer certified training. We're a certified training organization for MREA, the Midwest Renewable Energy Association. We have delivered 3 training cohorts for Walker Miller, for example, recently. And I believe each of those cohorts was about 15 to 20 members of the cohorts. I don't have the information, the numbers on the success rate for those that have pursued the certification, but I think there was a decent number that successfully pursued those. We've also delivered training cohorts to the Detroit Black Food Sovereignty Network, which in fact is the owner of D-Town Farms. And we did a cohort of training there, and I believe that cohort was about 20 as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe about 15 of the members of that cohort were successful in obtaining their certification. as a follow on to completing that course. And we've also been involved in at the university level. We recently participated and helped to deliver instruction at the University of New Hampshire. They have a community microgrid program, which the Dianes participated in, and I think they felt that it was a very useful program to them. And for anyone who is interested, if you are interested in some getting some further knowledge on microgrid designs, development, and some of the aspects that support microgrids. This is a free course offered through the new University of New Hampshire. And as well, there are some prerequisite sister courses that are out there that are free to the public. So I thought it was a really robust course. And I think people walked away with some very good information. It provided them with the context for microgrids, and again, how the elements that make up the microgrid and the considerations that go into the design and implementation, from not only the technical aspect, but as well the community relations aspect and the development of the financial resources to make those kinds of projects a reality, to bring those to reality. So that's it went pretty quickly, but that's basically what we've been up to bring you up to speed. If you have, so are there any questions at this point that you'd like some responses to?
Yeah, why don't you stop the screen sharing? It'll be easier to kind of see people when
Okay.
as they raise their hands.
Okay, very good. Now,
Yeah, if you have a question, just raise your virtual hand.
mhm. Okay. Oh goodness. Where's the exit here? Where's the exit ramp? Oh, it's up here.
Yeah, go ahead, Maud, with your question.
Uh, It's actually a simple question. How do your nonprofit and community clients finance these projects? What do you typically do to help them finance it?
Well, from the portfolio perspective, we're able to help them finance the construction and some of the other aspects of it that will help them to be successful there. From the standpoint of those that are not, those that preceded the our approach to portfolio and energy services agreements, they've had to develop that on their own. And for example, in the houses of worship, some of them have relied on or have been able to gain financing through one of the organizations that, of course, escapes my mind at this point. Um, oh, gracious! But there are some organizations that
Solar Faithful?
Solar Faithful. I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you. Oh yeah, yeah. Yes, Solar Faithful. Correct. They have provided financing for many of the houses of worship projects.
And this will be an opportunity for me to mention that next Thursday, we're going to have a presentation about Solar Faithful and the
Ah,
work
great.
they've been doing. So that's, if you're interested in their program, which is statewide, come back next Thursday. Other questions or comments that folks have, just raise your virtual hand. Uh, Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if a link could be posted to that microgrid course that he mentioned.
I will. I'll get that for you, and I will share it with John and Sean. If you want to distribute that, you feel free to.
Thank you.
Would that be an option, John?
Yeah. If you shared with me, I can
Okay.
get it out to folks.
Okay, I will do. Will do.
Yeah. And
I'm not sure
Bob, go
what
ahead.
Hi, I was curious about the solar street lighting. Uh,
Yes.
are those like a regular street light, a pole, and Do you have the panel and the batteries up there at the top of the pole with the light?
No, in fact, this particular design, the battery is located in the ground. It's installed in a ground box, and the panels themselves are clad along the length of the pole itself. So they're vertical along the pole, again, clad along the length of the pole itself, and then of course the light is at the top. And these are Wi-Fi enabled units, so folks in the neighborhood can take advantage of that as well. So it's different. It's a different design than that you've outlined in terms of having the battery up top. Excuse me, and the panel. So yeah, they're small panels that again are housed along the side of the unit itself.
Okay. And is each light independent?
Yes, yes, that is correct. That is correct. As
Okay,
opposed to being as opposed to being in series.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yes. No
And
problem.
just as a follow-up, who typically would own the solar street light? Is it in municipality? Of course, if you're in a parking lot, it could be the building owner. But
Correct.
who typically kind of owns the solar light?
You have it. You stated it correctly, Bob. I'm sorry, John. Yes, the municipalities themselves. Although in Highland Park, it was quite an exercise to make that happen, but they finally did take ownership. So they have ownership of those lights. And again, yes, if it's a parking lot or something, a private organization has them installed, then they will be the owners there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Highland Park people probably have heard the story about how all the street lighting was taken out of Highland Park, and
Yes, yes.
yeah, and it was the solar street lighting came back to kind of help correct the situation.
Exactly, exactly. That was, in fact, that was referencing referencing our initial presentation to the body here. Yes, so that was one of our initial projects was to help to counter that. So we started a project that we entitled Power Up, in which we deployed streetlights to not streetlights, but actually residential lights, residential level lights to citizens in Highland Park to help counteract that. And then we were able to move forward, move on, and to begin to be able to offer the standard municipal type of light for residents of the city. Now we had worked with an organization called Solidarity. We had partnered with Solidarity to make that happen, and that was their charge at that point to help counteract that. So in addition to the residential lights, then we were able to move into the municipal level lighting. And again, for this most recent tranche, if you will, most recent activity, it was quite a tooth-pulling effort, I would say, to get Highland Park to receive a gift. In fact, I think it was originally going to be offered to them as a gift, but again, there were ordinances that they had to put in place and other kind of municipal um, approvals that had to be received. So finally, they agreed, and so we got the 10 in, and then the subsequent 50 that'll be going in.
Okay, go ahead, Harvey.
Um, what what exactly are energy services,
So,
and what and how does an energy services agreement work?
another term for energy services is PPA, which you may be familiar with. You familiar with PPA?
Yes,
So,
I have heard of that.
okay, well, so it's
Power purchase.
synonymous, right? It's synonymous with power purchase agreement.
I
So,
see. So it's basically power.
yes, that's correct. That's correct.
I see.
So our model is like all models is we make the agreement with the owner of the property to use their roof or
I
roof
see.
or ground mount in order to generate. That's where the generation capabilities will be located. then we generate and sell all the power to them at a discounted rate.
I see. Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions or comments? Oh, Marcia, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Thank you for the presentation. It's interesting. I was wondering as you were talking whether the fact that we now have a federal government that is actively against solar power and alternative energy sources, if your clientele numbers have dropped off or if they've gotten to be larger, has it had any impact that you've noticed at all?
Well, our our speculation on the residential side is that there would be a decline. And we're not involved in residential, so we don't know exactly, but I'm assuming that's going to be the case since that 30% is not available. And especially for LMI communities, that 30% was a significant factor in being able to afford a system. So with regard to non-LMI communities, I believe probably economics are still favorable for them, at least in terms of being able to purchase. On the other hand, or in parallel to that, looking at the commercial side, we haven't necessarily seen a fall off in the commercial business. And in fact, I think the commercial business is going to increase. John and I had a brief conversation prior to the start, is that these prices are going to continue to rise at a more rapid pace than we've seen in the past with the activities surrounding the data centers and the power there. And I just this morning or yesterday, I heard a story on the news about the fact that of course we know that the grid is already being overtaxed, and in order to try to address that, the grid is going to have to be expanded, and of course with that comes the added cost that are going to be passed down to the users. So I just see those prices just continuing to go up, and I think um, it would be the play, if you will, for businesses to avoid those kinds of outcomes,
I think they're
and
making
probably
those
should make a shift.
calculations. I'm sure they are. Yeah. The
I would imagine so.
calculations
Yeah.
we're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
The
especially, I'm sorry, especially with energy service agreements and PPAs, you will be able to deliver, depending upon the organization, the provider as well as the off-taker, will be able to provide discounts that will be surpass those of the utility, and of course there are negotiations that will occur there. So we each want to be pretty unique, I guess. But I think that perhaps well, it's my sense that we'll see some increased increased demand on the
Good.
commercial side.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as
Sure.
many of you know, the federal tax credit for commercial and uh, continues at least through the end of
Yeah, that's right.
2027. And
Right.
so the economics still are very good for
True.
commercial
True.
institutional customers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody had asked the question about LMI, which is low and moderate income. That's kind of an acronym that's used for low and moderate income. Harvey, did you have a question? Again?
Yeah, I have another
Go ahead.
question.
Sure.
You spoke about portfolio solutions, and could you please explain what that is?
Sure. Within the arena of PPAs and energy service agreements, typically people will bundle a portfolio. And the portfolio basically is just several sites, if you will, that with being able to bundle them together, we're able to deliver under perhaps a single agreement, uh, the financials that will provide them with the benefits, greater benefits in terms of discounts. So it's the combining of multiple sites, and we're able to deliver the services to those multiple sites
Okay, I see. Thanks.
as an entity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, businesses are getting more and more creative to try to keep costs reasonable and bring these kind of solar systems and batteries to more and more customers. So economies of scale
Yes. Yes.
but I think we all realize all we got to do is read the newspaper that utility electric rates keep going up. So the economics are just going to get better for solar every year that goes by. Go ahead, Clyde.
The fact that the microgrid program was centered in University of New Hampshire, is that because microgrids are being accepted out in that area?
Excuse me. I'm not sure that was the motivator. So I can't really speak to that. Other than um, I understand that there were some courses that were offered previous to that were kind of precursors to the microgrid, and I think it was just an offering that the University of New Hampshire decided to stand up. I think they had. I don't know a great deal about the motivation for it, but it was nationally, it was offered on a national basis. So I don't know that that necessarily says that there was a greater interest in New Hampshire, because the participants, the students, came from locations across the nation. So there were folks that participated from New York, from Michigan. Those are the ones that come to mind. I've had New Jersey, not just New Hampshire. So I think it was just a an offering that the university deemed to be for the public benefit and for the greater good of the country.
Good, thank you.
Other questions, comments?
There's nothing like the ongoing wars to
Oh
stress
yes, oh
to
yes,
stress the point of energy independence through
yes,
reusable,
yes, yes,
resilient solutions. So
absolutely.
we have to thank our leadership for that.
Yes, yes, indeed, yes,
Yes,
indeed.
it definitely has renewed interest in electric vehicles too.
Oh, very
Yeah,
much
yeah.
so.
Yeah, very much
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Daniel, go ahead.
I'm just curious, going from residential to commercial, what are there other advantages that you're seeing there in terms of size or ability to depreciate or things like that?
Well, uh, in one context, let me put it in the context of the of energy services agreements and the kinds of potential that's available there. Uh, in some cases, uh, what what is able to be negotiated with if you have partners that may be a part of a portfolio, if there is one partner that has an interest in being able to buy out their portion of the PPA. So what they can do is perhaps it's structured so that for the first 5 years they're able if it's configured such they're able to pull ahead the depreciation and take advantage of the depreciation and as well as tax any kinds of tax write-offs. So that's a value to them, and of course then they're motivated to make those kinds of agreements to get into those kinds of arrangements. So from that perspective, there's that. Otherwise, I don't know that there is that any other advantage that we might see. There are currently, of course, as mentioned, tax incentives that are still available on the commercial side until 2027, but not that I'm aware of at this point. Are there any other kinds of incentives that are related to depreciation, write-off depreciation?
Are the lengths of the agreements about the same?
Yes, correct. We're writing them for 20, 25 years.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Thanks. I'm wondering what sort of businesses you're focusing on, big, small, municipalities, private corporations, um, that sort of
All,
thing.
all of the above.
And what are you finding is your sort of your niche right now?
Right now, it's sort of medium size, I believe you could say. But we're relatively new and getting our feet wet, and beginning to explore what the possibilities are. But I think, as I indicated, what we have, like Walker Miller, is one of the projects that we have. Well, actually, the portfolio that we're working on that includes most small and a little larger business, like Walker Miller, it's like it's only half a meg, okay. But we would certainly like to grow and expand into megawatt size and greater.
Mhm. And how big an area do you hope to serve in terms of, you know,
We would certainly love to be able to do it nationally.
okay.
Okay,
So
that's
not just Detroit area.
no,
Yeah.
that would be the ideal. So we go from Detroit to regional, and then of course nationally. In fact, we have some projects that we look at in Georgia potentially. So
Excellent.
so that's
Yeah,
what we
go ahead, Abraham.
Do you have contacts with similar organizations across the bridge in Windsor?
Similar organizations being asset owners or being
Well,
installers?
community organizations or
Okay.
that um, basically enable solarization
We
of
do not.
Windsor.
We do not. We do not.
Oh, you
Although
do
that's
that?
that's an interesting thought, though. Although I'm not quite sure, given the current politics, how well that will play. But that's an interesting thought for future.
I just wondered if there was already an brotherhood across the bridge
Yeah.
trying to fertilize that spirit.
Yeah, that would be good, but I'm not sure how that would go. But yes, it's something to be explored potentially.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sure.
Steve.
Hi, I'm assuming you've been doing some PPA, some power purchase agreements. If that's the case, what is the price per kilowatt hour you're offering? You're selling the power for from the solar and battery system?
Well, that's going to vary, so I can't give you a number there. But that'll vary depending upon what the client situation, what the rates, what rate they're currently paying, what size battery if they decide to go with the battery, and is the battery going to be will the batteries allow the financials to pencil out? Because obviously
And does it beat the utility retail rate?
yes, typically that's the case. Now, with the exception of the battery, let's put the battery aside, okay, and just take a look at solar. From the solar perspective, yes, it is worth it. It is worth it to them. There's a discount to them relative to their standard utility rate.
Other questions, comments? We've got about another 10, 15 minutes. Go ahead, Abraham.
I have a totally unrelated question. I would like to get in touch with last week's presenter, with Tim. And I don't know any of his credential or his email or phone numbers, etc. I just would like to speak with him about his the operations of his setup. How do I accomplish that?
Good question. I wasn't here last week, so did you say last week or the week before?
Or the week before, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Tim, who had installed, and he went over the installation and the performance of his system.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can track that down.
Yeah, just give him my name and number, see
Okay.
if, and email if he is interested in it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Question for you,
Bob.
Abraham. A quick question. Abraham, you have some Canadian connections?
Well,
Going back to the previous
yes,
conversation.
that is to say, I know some people there who, but not in Windsor, but in Toronto and in London,
Okay.
who have solar. But I haven't. I know very little about it, but I thought that perhaps there was more contact and cross-fertilization across the water because it's so close, and there are.
Yeah.
I understood with respect to the bridge, there were also shared community interests with people who had were in touch with one another about the bridge and its management, and anyway, and shared interest.
Right.
I just wondered whether any of that extended to the solar environment in Windsor.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob.
Thanks. I was wondering if you've ever had a customer that wanted to upgrade, and have you remove old panels and install, new, more powerful panels? And then what do you do with the old ones?
Not to any scale. We have had, in fact, the farm which I mentioned in the presentation, there's a small system, so we have done that. And actually, what we have done is we have held on to those older panels. And I think it's one thing to expand the question, expand the context. I think that's one of the things as an industry we're going to have to work out in the long term, because as these panels, as the life of these panels come to an end, and they are not as productive as they used to be, we're going to have to we'll have to pull them off and replace them. So as an industry, we need to address that. But yeah, I don't. Other than the small system that we pulled off, it hasn't been anything that we've been confronted with.
I thought there was actually an active industry in recycling panels. Perhaps Dave or Lee or so know about that part of the business.
Yeah.
Well, and Diane Van Buren is involved with that, and she's in the Detroit area, and it's reusing the panels. My understanding of what she's doing, right, is not actually recycling the materials as much as kind of finding a new home for panels that have been decommissioned. And there are other people I know John Kinch is involved with that. He's in the Lansing, Grand Haven area. So there are groups now that are dealing with the kind of finding a new home for an older panel. And I guess on the utility scale, there are companies around the country now that are actually recycling some of the panels, getting the materials and reusing those that are still functioning. So it's that whole thing is that whole effort is developing, and I think developing fairly quickly. And it's just going to be more and more panels for people to deal with.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Thanks. I'm curious, you mentioned a couple of projects that are using generators, and I'm wondering if you're using generators as backup power or replacement for batteries, or if they're actually doing peak load or, generating electricity to then go into battery storage, or just how you see generators working in a microgrid system.
So primarily they will be used for backup, and recharging batteries. That's primarily the application that we've seen. Okay. And that would be the case. That was, although as you mentioned, yes, there are the opportunities to be able to do the offset uh, for um, for those kind of rates where demand is an issue and that kind of thing. Uh, so there are options that are available, but for the kinds of applications we've seen, it's primarily been to do battery recharging and backup as needed.
So just covering the cold periods or the
Correct.
cloudy
Correct.
periods. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Go ahead,
battery
Steve.
So while the using used panels raises a interesting issue, I've been taking a deep dive on balcony solar, and what I see is that most of the installers I have what I call orphan panels. They could be some they've swapped out, but what it is that there is a tremendous availability of really cheap solar panels, secondhand or orphan panels. People can go to the installers and doing balcony solar, you can do it yourself for $1 a watt or under. Make it's a nice market. It's, small amount of power, but there's a tremendous opportunity to reuse or to take the orphan panels that a lot of installers have that, they weren't able to use or extra supply. Just a thought. I know there's Michigan legislation on balcony solar now and something like 23 states working on it. So that could be a good use for these surplus panels. Just a comment.
Yeah, that was my comment, John. I was going to chime in there that Detroit itself, and with residential, which is not what Karanja's and Ryter is focused on, but Detroit's got the DIY potential that could make balcony, as Steve mentions, or plug and play. And you could almost use anything with it as long as you have the right rest of the equipment. So I was looking forward to this session coming up 2 days from now at Lord of Lords, where residential is going to be the conversation and Detroit the focus, and possibly we can move that along a little bit. It really is going to be necessary for the legislature to actually, process and introduce and try to move forward this balcony solar, as Steve calls it, or plug and play power, whether it's just to allow 800 watts plugged into an AC circuit, or we have to somehow get the foot in the door and get this going. Hopefully it'll happen.
Yeah, GLREA and other organizations are kind of pushing the Michigan legislature to hold hearings on the bills that have been introduced. I think it's nothing. Very little happens very quickly in Lansing and the legislature, but I'm very optimistic that eventually we'll get a bill passed.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's see. We just have a few more minutes. So does anybody have a last question or comment before we kind of break for the evening? Yeah, don't forget to come back next week for Solar Faithful. And Karanja, thank you very much for your presentation. That's been very helpful for us to kind of see what direction you're heading. And, because the market is changing, like we've talked about, and it's good to kind of be in touch with you folks that are kind of making it happen.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure to be able to present to you guys, to be able to present to the body this evening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Yeah, our pleasure. Hey, well, thanks everybody for coming, and I hope to see you in future Thursdays.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks.